Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, version 0.18.1. In the last episode, we explored what new offerings the game has for us, and we got into orbit and returned safely from orbit using the brand new not physics engine, what was I going to say? The computer maneuvering system and whatnot. We found it very easy to use. So today, in today's episode, we are going to use what we have learned and not go to the moon, but we're going to learn another aspect that has been added to the game, docking. I'm going to try to learn it anyway. You'll see away from the camera, I actually have two satellites in orbit already, space station cores, if you will. This one on the outside at about a 300 by 300 kilometer orbit, and this one on the inside at about a 200 by 200. Don't tell anybody, but this second one I actually intended to also get out to 300, but ran out of fuel and kind of just settled for a 200 orbit. But yeah, these are basically just space station cores. Let me show you guys this one. This is one that I built myself. It is unmanned. Hello? There we go. Check this guy out. Yeah, I ran out of fuel. It's basically some solar panels, a couple of these empty habitation modules. One of these guys, which is kind of a 4 docking ports around the middle there, kind of realized after the fact, once we're in orbit and I have these solar panels deployed, that they might be in the way if I try to dock a spacecraft. I might have to retract the solar panels in order to dock. And then basically how I was able to get it unmanned is by using this. This is an unmanned command module, or command thing. Instead of using a command pod, you use one of these robotic things. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, that's how I did that. If I go back to the Space Center, the other one out at 300 kilometers is actually, I took the pre-made space station core that they have, you can load in from your, the solar panels are adjusting for the sun. The pre-made space station core, which is up here on the right, and just attached a rocket underneath it and launched it up into space. This one also has the 3 docking ports, but it also has a single docking port right here, which is convenient. And this one is actually manned, excuse me. This has Orhat, our previous astronaut who made it into and returned from orbit, but also Samon Kerbin have been hanging out up here for a couple days while I got that other thing into orbit. They have a little bit of fuel left. I just decided to keep this stage connected, just in case. But yeah, you can see this is the inside from, I believe, Orhat's little checklist. I didn't see that before. Orhat's seat. This is actually, this part up here is actually part of, intended to be a lander pod. Yeah, a lander kind of module, and then it is attached to a space station module. So, I believe this is the one I would like to aim for in today's mission. Let's head back to the Space Center. And I already have built a spacecraft that will hopefully get us up there and we can test out the docking. And I've named it the Docker McDockington 4000. Or 400, sorry, this is just the Series 400. It's a pretty simple, keeping things simple. Just a 2-stage, well I guess technically 3-stage if you count the solid rocket boosters. Rocket. Giving myself a lot of fuel in the upper stage and a lot of RCS fuel because I'm assuming it's going to take quite some maneuvering to get close to and then dock to the station on orbit. And I'm trying out, this is actually a docking module right here. It's a, where is it at? Clampotron shielded docking port. So I'm assuming I have to deploy it once on orbit and then dock to it. This is very similar to how the Dragon capsule, the SpaceX Dragon capsule, has its docking port up top. So, kind of going with that theme, I guess. But then, obviously, you can't put a parachute on top, so I've put 2 of the radially attachable parachutes, which hopefully work. I've given myself plenty of RCS thrusters for maximum maneuverability. A few solar panels, because I'm not sure if and how I would need those, and a few batteries, and some headlights, because I don't know if I'm going to be approaching on the nighttime side of Kerbin. I might need some headlights to see where I'm headed. But I think this spacecraft is ready for launch. I have yet to test this spacecraft. So let's head to the launch pad. I'll probably need to adjust the time to try to time things correctly. And that's one of the reasons I put 2 potential targets into orbit. Because, oh, that doesn't seem stable at all. What's going on here? Things seem a little bit wobbly. Yeah, there seems to be a disconnect between many of these parts. Yeah, especially these parts right here. Hello! Alright, let's actually... hold on. I'll probably cut this out, but I need to revise my design, apparently. Alright, we're back, and apparently we have a much more stable rocket here. I had an additional fuel tank, because this large rocket really sucks down the fuel on this orange fuel tank here. I had an extra fuel tank attached to that, but that is where the connection was failing to be sturdy. Still kind of a problem in the game, I think. I don't feel like it's purposefully, you know, there's no like reason why those 2 parts shouldn't be secure together, but for some reason some parts just are physically incompatible with others, and you end up with a very wobbly, held together by, you know, silly string kind of rocket on your hands. So I'm hoping I have enough fuel to get into orbit. I guess we're going to find out. No better way to find out. But we have Billman, Faring, and Tom V. Kerman. Tom V. I think we've seen before, but these other guys I am not familiar with. Let us turn on the SAS. Let us throttle up. Something I have learned is that the largest rocket of Kerbal Space Program, they've adjusted it in this version to where it overheats very easily. So you rarely ever get it above, say, 80% thrust, or else it'll overheat and explode on you. But let's actually, while we're here, we're going to have to speed up time, I believe. Like I said, I don't know what that does. I set it as my target. We're going to need to try to time things properly. Still not very sure how to do that. Perhaps right there is kind of good. Of course, these 2 are... So basically, I have 2 targets. If I totally time things wrong and miss one, at least I have another one I can try for, but we'll see how that goes, I guess. Anyway, I think now would be a good time to launch. Sunrise. I almost hit spacebar on accident, because I'm not ready. SAS is on. Fine-tune controls are on. So, our first mission to dock to a kind of quasi-space station in 5, 4, 3, 2... Yahoo! Very steady liftoff. See, here's that overheat. Whoa! Throttling down a little bit on that main engine. Yeah, I'm at about 75% thrust, and the overheat is still going up. That also is due to the fact that I'm surrounded by 4 solid rocket boosters, so might have something to do with it. Those are about to go away rather soon. Yeah, I don't think I have enough fuel to get into orbit. Damn. Whoa. Something exploded. Hope it wasn't important. Alright, watch that overheat. I'm going to do a little bit of a pitch over. Might be kind of soon. We can get all the help we can get, or use all the help we can get in terms of our getting into orbit there. Yeah, alright. Well, we're about to find out. Junk. Get out of here. Stay on target. I don't think this rocket, this engine is going to be powerful enough to get us into orbit. I mean, we're still gaining altitude. Ah, that sucks. Yeah, we aren't really gaining any surface speed. Damn, hell's blazes. This is the part of the game I do not enjoy. Is the failure after failure after failure. See, what is this? What is this business? I know I set that as my target, but what does that do for me in terms of getting there? I am still gaining speed. Perhaps not all is lost. Although I'm losing all this fuel that I was planning on using for maneuvers to get to my station. Damn! What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I think on my nav ball, the pink thing is my target. Huh. I'm starting to... I'm gonna get out of the atmosphere. I already am out of the atmosphere, technically. But I am starting to level out. So let's actually use this as an opportunity to burn sideways and hopefully get us into an orbit. And then we'll see what we can do from there. It's the "You're in Space" music. Thinking about a rocket redesign. What is this? I don't know what any of these numbers and buttons mean. Boop. Well, if anything, I'll have now 3 objects in orbit that could be potential targets. I'm actually going to throttle down and off, and then wait for myself to get to my apoapsis, which is a better time to do an orbital insertion maneuver. This one will be about a 100 by 100 orbit if I can make it there. So I'll have something at 100, 200, and 300 kilometers. So now what? Open shield. Ah, cool. It's kind of cool. I like it. Interesting indeed. Alright, we have 48 seconds, 45 seconds until we have to do our orbital insertion burn. Boop. "24 seconds. Less than half fuel left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going to be a 20-second burn. Let's try to get back on target. Like that. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cut off. Alright, we're at 90. Okay, there we go. Now it's more of a 100 by 100. Yeah. Okay. Don't have that much fuel left. What can I do? I obviously launched a little bit too early, it would seem. Because I am way out ahead here. I'm giving the planet rings. I feel like I need to redesign my rocket. Give it a little bit more oomph off the pad and more fuel to actually get into orbit. And then make another attempt at a space station. But at least now I have 3 targets in the sky. So I will be right back with a slightly modified rocket design, and we will try again. We will try again. Alright guys, we are back, and now I have the KurtJMac 500, which I've swapped out the solid rocket boosters for liquid fuel boosters that also feed fuel into the center stage so that I have additional fuel. How many more times can I say fuel? This guy just walked right through the engine. Well done, scientist guy. So we've got that going for us. I've also added this fuel tank up above. The connection between this and this is what we're going to have to watch for. I found that you can never have enough struts. Perhaps I should add some struts between those, just for good measure. How do you... I don't like that. How... Okay, I want it... Okay, now I would like 4 symmetry. Then you go to touch... I touch this... this part here, and it goes back to 2 symmetry. How do I change that? That is something I wish to change my mind about. Like, did that actually create a connection? I don't know, but I'm going to keep trying. Okay. I'm assuming that now there are struts there that will hold those 2 parts together, just in case. But let's save. Let's head to the launch pad with the KurtJMac 500. Let's break the universe. Hello. And now we've got Jeffwise, Hudster, and Rodbass Kerbin hanging out in this kind of ridiculously large spacecraft, but hopefully it works. Let's look at our map to see what kind of... Well, I guess now would be the time to launch. Too late to reach the one that just launched, obviously, but maybe we'll be able to swing up and catch the Space Station Core number 2. So quickly now, let's turn on the SAS, turn on the fine-tune controls in 5, 4, 3, 2... Up! Oh, God! I forgot to put the throttle up again, guys. They survived! Hooray! Let's restart that flight. Alright, quickly now, the space station is flying over us. That's what we get for rushing. Alright. Jeffwise, Hudster, and Rodbass are back. They have endured their ordeal and are willing to try again. Once again, I don't need full throttle because that one middle rocket will overheat, but let's try again. 5, 4, 3, 2... Yeah! Upwards and onwards, guys. Upwards and onwards. It looks like this connection is holding just fine and dandy. I also put some additional struts between these 2, just in case. Seems to be a rocket that is working just fine and dandy. Watch the overheat, good lord. It's a little bit of an overreaction there on the throttle, but... I feel like the overheat on the engine is a little bit aggressive. Because now I don't feel like there's any situation where you'd ever be able to get 100% thrust out of that rocket, the way that they've changed things. Oh well. as we're still gaining speed. Should gain a lot more once we lose these stages. Watch it. I would put the retro rockets on those things, but every time I've tried that previously, the exhaust ends up hitting these fuel tanks and making them explode. So that's a little annoying. Alright, how are we doing for apoapsis? Okay-ish. We're a little bit behind the curve. Literally and figuratively. Okay, we're at about 12,000 meters. Let's start our gravity turn. Although we still do have quite an amount of fuel left, so that is good news. Alright, let's get down to about 70 degrees. Very nice. Now we should start picking up the altitude. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Alright, it's time for like a little bit of a more gravity turn. Let's try to get to 45 degrees. If we can stay on this 90-degree heading, that would be helpful. Ooh. Right there. Awesome. Okay. Alright, this is interesting. I don't know what to do with this information, but it's interesting. Ah! Don't lose control. Alright, we're about to run out of fuel. Get out of here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's concerning. Alright, whoa, hold that heading right there. Okay. Alright, maybe I should allow myself to get up to the apoapsis. Let's set this as a target. Oh, what's this? Is this like something that says I should do something here? Oh, okay, okay. Things are telling me things, like there's going to be a point of intersect. Intersect. Okay, there's points of intersect. Perhaps I should get those two lines to match up. Yeah, okay. Does that... what I'm doing make any sense whatsoever? I feel like I should, a little bit low there. No, I want to... oh, damn! No, I want to... that is really not very, okay, I've got multiple points of intersect going on here. Gosh, I wish you could just hide the planet so you could get your maneuvers going. Alright, that looks good. Okay, let's go with that maneuver. Just quickly approaching. Alright, our RCS stuff works. That's good. Let's not waste it, however. We have our burn in T-minus 44. Boop. I'm hoping this engine is powerful enough that we don't miss all of these calculations. Alright, well that's helpful that it actually tells you when you're going to intersect. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Oh, let's get this up. 17 seconds till burn. Hudster seems to be a Jebediah Kerman relative. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Burning. It's a 2-minute, 21-second burn. This engine is not very powerful. So hopefully that doesn't mess up things. Woo! Inside the capsule. They haven't changed much within here. Try to stay on that target. Because precision is key. Precision and not messing up is key. About a minute left in the burn. Yes. Things are happening. "30 seconds left in the burn. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cut. All right. How are we doing? It seems like, All right, let's, Alright, I've done... I've gone a little bit outside their orbit there, so I'll probably... Let me just bring things back a little bit. Easy, easy. Very little thrust. Okay. I might need to bring that orbit a little bit more in plane with them as well. Okay, well, at least we have points of intersect. I don't know what to do with that information just yet. But they're there. Let's try... And my angle is a bit off. What do I want to do here? I'll add a maneuver to... That's too low, that's too low. That's right, isn't it? That's about right. Alright, let's do that maneuver. I'm kind of panicking here. So much is happening at once. Got 23 seconds. Think, Kurt. I want to find where I need to burn in 14 seconds on my nav ball really quickly. Yep, there it is. There it is. 7 seconds. It's going to be like a 1 second burn. 1. Alright, there we go. Hopefully that kind of brought our orbits into the plane. Kind of, at least during the intersects it did. Alright. This is all very helpful. At least I know I'm going to get close. But it's a lot of information that I'm not familiar with to take in. Of course, the issue is I'm going to have to speed up, do another maneuver here to get myself equivalent. Because otherwise I'm just going to see them really quickly, and then I'm going to start descending once again to the periapsis of my orbit. So perhaps... there's so many orbits here. Perhaps I should want to do another maneuver... right at my apoapsis? The heck just happened to the sun there? Oh, it turned on and off. Okay. The music. Let's, Am I doing this right? I feel like I'm not doing this right. Target position at intersect 1. Intersect 1. Huh? Okay, I don't quite understand all this, so we're just going to fast forward time and see what happens when we reach these undetermined points of intersect. How much fuel do I have left? Quite an amount of fuel. So yeah, I'm going to fast forward time, and I will rejoin you when things start happening. I don't know what kind of things are going to happen, but they'll happen. I promise. Indeed.